Hello, everybody. I am Mrs. Poppet, and this is my place. I have selected a great story today, and you may have heard of this one before. Have you ever heard of the Shoemaker and the Elves? Well, it's a cute little story, and I think you're going to like it very much. The Shoemaker and the Elves. A shoemaker, by no fault of his own, had become so poor that he had nothing left but the leather to make one last pair of shoes. In the evening he cut out the shoes that he would sew the next morning, laid down quietly in his bed, said his prayers, and fell asleep. The next morning he was about to sit down to work when he found the two shoes standing finished on his table. He was astounded and did not know what this could mean. He took the shoes in his hands to examine them. They were so neatly made that there was not one bad stitch in them. They were crafted like a masterpiece. Soon after, a customer came in who was delighted with the beautifully made shoes and paid extra for them. With this money, the shoemaker was able to buy leather for 2 more pairs of shoes. He cut them out at night, and the next morning he was about to set to work on them, fresh with hope, but discovered they'd already been made. Buyers came in for these shoes too, and from them he received enough money to buy leather for 4 more pairs. The following morning he found the 4 pairs made, and so it went on. When he cut out in the evening, it was finished in the morning, and done with such skill that customers loved them. The shoemaker was no longer poor, and at last became a wealthy man. One evening, not long before Christmas, the man said to his wife before going to bed, "What do you think? Shall we stay up tonight to see who it is that keeps giving us a helping hand?" The woman liked this idea, so they lit a candle and hid themselves in a corner of the room. They watched. When it was midnight, 3 little men with ragged clothes came, sat down at the shoemaker's table, and took the leather that was cut out before them. They began to stitch and sew and hammer so precisely and so quickly with their little fingers that the shoemaker could not take his eyes off them. The little men did not stop until all the shoes were made, and then they rapidly ran away. The next morning the shoemaker's wife said, "The little men have made us rich. We must show them we are grateful for it. Their clothes are ragged and they must be cold. I will make them little shirts and coats and vests and trousers and knit each of them a pair of stockings, and you should make them 3 little pairs of shoes." The man said, "I would be very glad to do this." A few nights later, when everything was ready, instead of the cut-out leather for making into shoes, they laid their presents all together on the table and then hid to watch what would happen. At midnight, the little men came and bounding in, ready to get to work. They did not find any cut-out leather to work on, but only the handsome little clothes. At first they were astonished, and then they were delighted. They dressed themselves in the shirt and coat and vest and trousers and stockings and shoes with great speed, singing, "Now we are boys, oh so fine to see. We need no longer cobblers be." They danced and skipped and leapt over chairs and benches. Then they danced out the door, and they never came back. But all went well for the shoemaker, and his business flourished through all the days of his life. Wasn't that a wonderful story? I really like that story because, he was really down on his luck and he needed some help to get back on his feet. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, these little men showed up and just decided to chip in and help him. And when they did, the shoemaker was so grateful that his wife and he decided to give them Christmas gifts. The one thing they really needed was clothes. So the shoemaker needed shoes to build his business, and the little elves needed clothes. And so with everybody helping each other out, things turned out wonderfully for them all. Isn't that a great little story? It's It's so cute, and it is such a good thing to think about because that means a lot. When people help each other out, one helps the other, everybody wins. Well, you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.